Hello, thank you for tuning in again to this Eagles Showcase, where we're bringing in CU people, alumni, people that are doing really well in their industries to come and share with us and teach us, just a chit chat, right? So I feel like for you there, I know you can't talk, I can't hear you, I can't see you, but I want you to stay very relaxed. I want you to grab a drink, grab something. I was meant to have water here, but um, life happens. So just grab a drink, and, okay? And he's a star. He's a filmmaker. He's an award-winning filmmaker. Ishaya, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you show your video in Toronto? Yeah. So he's a pro, and we're not worthy, but yeah. Ishaya, hi. Can you hear
Hi,
me?
Nora. I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. Olga, thank you for
Madam,
joining. Thank you.
likewise. Thank you for having me. And thank
Yeah.
you to some you too for chasing me down.
Use the word harass. That's what you wanted to
Harassed.
say.
Yes, exactly. I was trying to be,
I know.
that kind of thing.
It's okay. Yeah, safe space, guys. Safe space. Whatever happens here doesn't be discussed. No, I kid.
Safe-ish.
I kid. Because I'm going to save this thing, so please. All right, guys, welcome. Thank you for those that tuned in before and came back in for us to start afresh so we can have a really good feed. Thank you so much for coming back and staying with us. This is going to be about 45 minutes chat. Around 8:45 will be done. But tonight we have one of us here, popular demand, award-winning, hot, human being somewhere on the other side of the screen. If you look
Mm.
down, don't look down, like literally, we look up to him, but oh my God, I have to see you thinking me. Okay, so we have Ishaya here, who is a filmmaker. He's an award-winning filmmaker. It was really hard to get him on this hot seat today, but this is your space. This is your time to ask him questions and learn from him. So the Eagles Showcase, occasionally we're going to bring in people doing different things in their fields, and we're just going to have like a chit-chat with them, okay? And we're starting this series with Ishaya. Bako. All right, so Ishaya, I've tried to talk about you from my perspective and what I know, but I'd love you to introduce yourself.
So hi, Naraya. Hi, everybody. Especially to all the Eagles out there. So I'm a filmmaker. I was part of the first set of Covenant University, 2002, graduated '06. Yeah, after that, just thought to pursue a career in filmmaking. So I went to film school after that, and uh, yeah, and then I just started making films and navigating through that just now.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to
And if
salute
you
Dr. Muyiwa Oludayo. I can see him. I
salute
can see
Moyo.
him there. Yes.
Yes, doctor. Mm-hmm. Okay,
Mm.
cool. So let's get into this thing. What do you have behind you? That's a very nice artwork. I don't know what it is, but
Oh
it's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
nice.
It's sorry, it's like in my dining, and it's
No, it's fun.
it's a portrait that I got in Goree Island in Senegal.
Oh, I love Korea land. I love the way the
Yes.
water, the beach. Yeah,
Yes,
cool.
amazing holiday.
Did you
Oh yeah.
did you film there?
No, I didn't film there. I was on holiday there. So like Christmas,
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
20, 2016 or something like that. Mm.
Okay, I love Senegal, but let's have that conversation later. Especially, let's not talk about their jollof. I don't know what
No.
you think
That's
about
not even that's well. See, to be fair, that's where it
it.
started though. So that's the original. I mean, they even have like a hotel there, Legion of. Actually, I didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Is
But
that,
because you grew up with what you can't hear me. Or?
I can hear you. I'm just waiting for you to say something.
So
Let me just
no,
remind
but
you that you have
because like
Nigerian
it's
here.
no, you know it's Niger. It's Niger. Let's not even like that proper. Party jollof. There's no part two. It's Niger or nothing else. All that.
Yeah,
Sure. Oh, yeah.
yeah. Off the
Mm,
record is my next best jollof. Apart from the jollof that I know, theirs
mm.
is off the record though, because I
Yeah,
have
no,
some.
it's absolutely. Yeah, we're not even talking about Ghana now. It's like Niger and then
Shia,
Senegal.
I didn't mention any other country. That's on you, because this is
Yeah,
going to be
I
great.
mentioned it. It's fine. That's okay.
It's on you.
That's
Okay,
okay.
so my Ghana family
Mm,
there, guys, it's not me, it's him. All right, so Ishaya, so you studied MIS, right? I mean, I
yes.
was going to ask you what you studied. I was in the same department. I think we're doing great, honestly. But somehow you studied MIS and you went into filmmaking. What was that? Why? Why did you do that? Why did you switch?
Um, so I mean, like you know it now. You're growing up in Nigeria. You're not going to tell your parents that, oh, I want to be a filmmaker. Or I want to go into film or the arts. And so, I mean, when I was growing up, the two things I knew I loved were computers and um, film. Because like a lot of the things that I learned a lot from film and TV.
Okay.
Um, but then when I was going to school and like when it was time to like, okay, what do you want to study? Like, I mean, like first and foremost, there wasn't really any course that was around filmmaking and the rest. So, um, yeah. So when I finished secondary school, and then it was like, okay, starting off in Covenant, and I have to say, like most of the parents that allowed their children go to CU, like I mean, for us that were the pioneer set, they were just very ballsy, man, because nobody would have known at that point in time. It's a brand new school, missionary and all, well, not missionary per se, but church.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose like when I was going in, so what I actually went in for when I was computer engineering. But
Okay.
then after my first year, to be honest with you, I just like, yo, I can't do 5 years in this. Let me know even like I was just like, yo, shit, I cannot do 5 years.
Okay.
And I think MIS was like very, very like I mean, like it was like kind of the next department after computer engineering. It was computer science or MIS, and I looked at MIS and I was like, oh, this could be interesting, like in terms of um, kind of marrying like computers with different applications, and I think that also was like a precursor to my inclination with film, being able to explore different stories and different
Mm-hmm.
things. So yeah, so I'm so literally after the first year, I was just like, okay, you know what, I'm going to transfer. So I transferred to MIS. And yeah, I did the remaining 3 years, and it was cool.
Mm-hmm. And then you came out of it and you told your parents you wanted to go into this film thing.
Yes.
What?
So what was actually interesting and what was good about the school is so I was part of, and I know we had this conversation last night. About any units I was in. So I was part of the drama group. It was called Eden Family. So I think at that time there were two drama groups. There was Eden Family, and then there was like the one that was closer to the church or to the group. And Eden Family was kind of more like at least for the time, like, and obviously like within the restrictions of the school, it was a little bit more edgy in the kind of stories and ideas that we're trying to do. So I was part of that drama group, and
Mm-hmm.
I remember we did one play. I think In Between Two Worlds or something like that. I can't remember that. Like we were playing a lawyer. Like the idea of the play was kind of talking about God's redemption or Jesus's sacrifice for us, and so it was like a court case. Um, I remember it was Taiwo. I forget his surname now. Somebody might remind me. Kemi Onobanjo would know. It's Taiwo that had written the story, and so I was playing one of the lawyers that was like persecuting like just like the everyday man and trying to get him condemned to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I really enjoyed that process, and I really enjoyed the thing. And yeah, I mean, like after that, I was just like, oh yeah, this is really good. This is really interesting. And then I
Right.
finished, and I started serving. I served in Port Harcourt. Um, and during like after my camp, I was
Mm-hmm.
coming back to Abuja. Um, and then I had an accident on the Port Harcourt Aba Expressway. Which
Wow.
was like the first time I was in like a serious accident. And when that happened, it was just like it's cliche as hell, but then literally you see your life flash before you. It's like yo, so is what is this that you're going to do? Like what do you want to be remembered for and that kind of thing. And I think at that point in time, it hit me in my head that look, I really enjoy like writing and telling stories and like exploring that. And I was just like, okay, you know what, that's what I'm going to do. So I spent the rest of the service year convincing my parents. I remember having like I was having breakfast with my dad and I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. Because at that point in time, it was like, okay, you know what, find a career in IT and so when I was thinking of, okay, you know what, I want to do a master's and stuff, and I was like, oh, I want to go to film school. He was like, "What? You want to be an actor?" And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. I want to be behind um, the camera, and I want to tell stories." And I mean, like to his credit, and I mean, like I love my parents to death, and I think like in many ways, if I didn't have that support, I
Right.
wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have been there. So I went to film school, and then yeah, I suppose the rest is history.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry about whatever happened many years ago. But it's
No, no,
funny
no.
how events,
It's
you
absolutely
know,
fine.
like you said, they kind of give you that, that reality that what do I want to be remembered for? And for you, you jumped into it. And of course, you spent a
Hmm.
year convincing the parents. I mean, if I were a parent, I'll take 5 years maybe. Like I paid for 4 years, so you have to spend the 4 years convincing me. All right, cool. So you went to film school in London, right? Yeah, I did
Yes.
it. So you went to film school here, and then you went back to Nigeria. Now, for
Yep.
someone that hasn't been in that industry, or did you know anybody? Like, how did you break in? How did you start
Yeah, yeah.
filming?
So I mean, like it was again, I was a bit fortunate. So there was Oliver Aliogana, who's a producer and a director. He was also in Abuja at the time before I went to film school. And he was doing a TV series, Husbands and Wives, that was on AIT.
Okay.
And interestingly, like his brothers, Dominic and George, they were also in Covenant, the CEO alumni. And like literally, he's just like a really like chill and incredible person to have connected with at the time. Because at the time he was like connecting like different. He just liked those Covenant people, and plus the fact that his
Hmm.
brothers were in the school and all. I remember like F. Shaw, who's a musician too. Like he had some connections with him and stuff like that. So I met with him before I went to film school. I just like talked with him, went on set to see just kind of like okay, this is the thing, and he gave me really sound advice because he was like, if I'm going to film school, and so I went to the London Film School, which is kind of like a conservatoire. So you kind of learn everything with filmmaking. So you go from editing to directing to writing to cinematography, and all of that. And then he told me that do everything but directing, like learn everything apart from directing, which was really sound advice. And so yeah, so I went to film school, and then so when I finished my graduation film, he was also the producer on it. So I had him as producer. Had Clarence Peters as the DOP on it. Yeah, and we just had fun with that project in particular. I think that's like the most fun I've had on a film, which is a bit
All right.
sad, but
So let's
really
go back
cool.
a
But yeah,
bit. You
yeah.
said do everything. He gave you that advice because I know there are some of us here as well that probably are trying to explore this filmmaking space.
Hmm.
So I want us to stay a bit on it as well. So you said he told you do everything but directing, and you said it was sound advice. Why do you say so?
So I mean, like if you're coming into filmmaking, they're very different departments. So everything starts from the idea or the script.
Hmm.
um, and that's your foundation, if you will. Like you have like the plan an architect to use. So you have the plan before you make a building. So you have a script before you go into any kind of production. And then there are all the different departments that kind of put it together. There's camera, there's sound, there's lighting, there's costumes, makeup, the art department. So at the heart of it, if you're the director is like the creative head. The producer is like kind of like the administrative head. The producer is the person that would hire everybody. Meanwhile, the director is the person that kind of runs everything on set. So the director is the person that talks to the actors, that kind of shapes it. It's the director's vision. Um, excuse me. And then the producer is more of like the business person that finds finance for the film, distribution for it, and whatnot. So if you're a director and you're in that space, you have to talk to different creative heads in particular, and each department. The thing with film that we keep saying is it's not a democracy. It's very structured. There's a chain of command, and like at that point in time, like the director is at the heart of it, where you are coordinating everybody and everything. And it's very important to know what everybody does. It's important that I know what the cinematographer is doing and what they're thinking, what kind of lenses they're using, the kind of mood we want to set for the light. Same thing with the art director, like what kind of materials do we want to use to design a space. The same thing with the sound. And oftentimes it's always good. which was the what I'm really grateful for, learning in a safe environment. Because the thing with school is you are learning in a safe environment. You are okay to fail, you know. And I think that was the best thing that happened to me for film school. Like I was able to learn all of these different roles. So I was like a boom swinger. I was a boom singer. I was editor. I was a camera assistant. You know, being able to be like it's almost like a general in the army. Like you move from
Right.
private all the way up to the ranks of general. So you've been in other people's shoes, so you can know how to talk with them, how to relate with them, and how to communicate with them, especially because that's the heart of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
it's really interesting that we're talking about this because I have no clue about the film industry. I just know that I watch and I sit down and I laugh, I
So
criticize, I do everything.
no. Is a shockingly tremendous amount of work. And I know that the fascinating thing that when people come on set and they visit, like one of the things that they keep on saying is that it's a lot of work, but at the same time you have a lot of people just sitting down doing like just waiting, because like if you start shooting, you do takes over and over again. So you
Mm-hmm.
have like your makeup person on standby, you have your art director props on standby to reset everything. Your
Right.
cinematographer is waiting to set all those kind of things. And then it gets very intense, especially because if it's a feature length film, like you're obviously not shooting in sequence. So you're shooting different scenes at different places and you're
Right.
trying to patch it all together. But which is also like to a certain extent, one of the reasons I also wanted to go into it was because of how much I loved film. I was a bit dissatisfied with the kind of films that I was seeing in Nigeria or Nollywood,
Yes,
as you
yes.
would.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one to like bitch and moan about, oh, like it's like, okay, you know what, if you can do better, or if you know that,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And for me, this was something that I knew I could do. I don't want to retire from at all. I want to be like Clint Eastwood, 80 years old. Excuse me.
Take your
80,
time.
90 years old. 80, 90 years old and still doing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, like it's something that I absolutely love.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a couple of questions. We have a lot that are queued up, and I can see some people submitting. Keep them coming, taking notes. I'm Ishaya's script writer today or editor, I don't know, but yeah, something. All right, so one of the questions that people asked was, what challenges did you face in breaking into the industry? Indeed, you kind of knew some people, but like, what challenges did you face when you started?
Ah man. So I'll say it's changing now a bit, but I mean, I still see the problem persists is that there are very few mentors. And I don't think it's only for the film industry. I feel like in literally every other discipline, unfortunately in Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I don't know if it's a Nigerian thing or an African thing in particular, where we don't necessarily see how we mentor and we groom the next generation. Um, um, so I mean, like that was one of the struggles or challenges because like when I finished and like I've made my even in the process of I remember making my graduation film. I'd gotten I'm not going to mention his name, but he's a Nigerian filmmaker based in London.
Mm-hmm.
And like the school had arranged for me to have him as a mentor.
Okay.
Uh, And yeah, I mean, I got in touch with him. I contacted him. Like, I sent him the script. I said, these are my ideas. Um, all of those kind of things. Homeboy
Mm-hmm.
just like we spoke, but he just never answered me. He never gave me any kind of support. Like, and what pained me even more was that part of my school fees, like they gave him like a fee to have like 2 or 3 lunches with me, like business lunches with me, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing, like nothing.
Okay.
And I suppose like in certain ways that I don't want to use the word envy, but something very close to that. I think that was the closest. That's the closest thing I can say. Like um, bad belly to a certain extent, like and not being supportive.
How long did you
It's true
hold that
now.
in? How long did you hold that
No,
in? Let's
it's
go. Tell us.
a no, no, I didn't. It's not that long. No, but at the
Okay.
same time, also because I know that okay, you know what, like, uh, so I I trust in my abilities and my talents, and I know that okay, look, this is something I want to do. So I was like, you know, what, screw this shit, like, let's go. Um, And so yeah, I mean like that's part of it. But at the same time, like which is the exciting thing and the nerve-wracking thing about filmmaking, each project is very different. So
Mm-hmm.
each project brings its own challenges in and of itself. Um, One of the first challenges that I would say I had was so the first documentary I did, Fueling Poverty, that it came out. Um, uh,
Is that's the
uh,
award winning? Is that the one you showed in Toronto as well? Or it
no,
was okay.
Toronto was what was Toronto? Royal Hibiscus Hotel. That was
Okay.
Toronto.
Okay.
Um, but Fueling Poverty we showed at the New York African Film Festival and like a couple of other film festivals. And I actually remember it was like a day before the day I got back from New York, like we heard that the film was banned. Which was interesting in its own way, you know, that kind of thing. That
Right.
you're censoring this project in and of
Mm-hmm.
itself. And then I remember fast forward to the first feature I did, Root to Yesterday, because it was the first for us. It was the first for me. It was first for the producer, who was also the actress.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-production challenges came in and of itself. And pre-production, for people that don't know, like when you're starting a film, like once you have the script and you have funding for the film, you prepare, you plan for the film. That's your pre-production stage. And that's like the precious stage. Like you don't want to half-ass it. And unfortunately, like because of how rapidly we turn around films here in this country, we often just compress that, which is why you have like a lot of half-baked stories. Like you're watching a film and you're like, why? How did this? And stuff like that. So yeah. So I mean, but back to your question, at the heart of it, I would say challenges is there. Again, at that point in time, there were fewer support system per se. To help you and like to like give you advice on your career and the rest. I mean, I was fortunate to have Oliver, who was just a very great person to just like, and for everybody else that's worked with him, from Clarence Peters to DJT, Emma Docio, like they would say the same thing. Like it was just it was a good, but that was part of the challenge. And then obviously like just filming in Nigeria, like so, we have a very enthusiastic filmmaking system. Like I mean, like we're the second largest in terms of the volumes of films that we produce. So in terms of like how much film, it's a glut. It's too much. We make too many films. And so what you have is a lot of very amateur people making films, like amateur professionals, so if you will, and people that are learning on set. So on the one hand, you can't knock it, and which is something that I really love. You can't knock the enthusiasm. They can do, you know what? Let's just get with it. Let's go. But at the same time, like unfortunately, like it also tells when people don't really sit down and see it as a discipline, which is what it is. It's a discipline, and the nature of discipline. So whether it's even from you being a director, a producer, or you being an actor and an artist, like you need to have that discipline to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to spend time to build a character on. I'm going to spend time to, develop a story, that kind of thing. And granted, it's also difficult because like we're trying to make bread, that kind of thing. You're trying to eat, you're trying to make a living with this thing, which is also very difficult. And because the economies of scale are still skewed in a certain way, because the industry was built on volume rather than quality. But that said, in the last decade, I would say it's changed, or it's shifting in certain ways, and you're seeing more and more people, like first of all, like learning their craft, seeing it as a discipline, and wanting to make better films.
Yeah, Ishaya, I'm not going to be rude here, but I think like the alumni, they've been having a different kind of conversation in the comment section. Please do not look. Like, I don't know what's going on there, but, but they've been having like their own conversation.
I think it's fine. Like let them have. Hi, Kemi. Hi, Reginald.
Yeah. So I'm going to, before I ask you like some of the serious questions that we've seen, Kemi and some other people are asking, how can they act in a movie? And I'm going to just add there, how can I be a waka pass in your movie? Right.
You
I've not
people are
acted
look,
before.
first and foremost, I don't know why do people want to act like
Waka
it
pass,
is
I think.
look, it is just like daunting. Like I respect, like, at least, and I've been fortunate to work with like a wide variety of
Right.
people, but I mean, I respect that because like you're in the space, you're in the room, you have lights on you, you have camera on you, you have like 20, 30 people like looking at you, watching your every move, and like
Mm-hmm.
it's, I don't know why people like want to do it, but then again, you people, first of all, you people are too, especially Kemi should keep quiet. I mean, she's super
We want
talented.
to blow.
We acted
Don't you get
together.
it? We want to blow. We understand that the camera's on
You,
you. You got
oh, but
blow. So we're
blowing,
gonna.
see, blowing, blowing is a hard process, man, and blowing is a hard process. Like worldwide. Because I remember even when we were casting, when I was casting for like short films in London,
Right.
you have like
Mm-hmm.
casting call pro, you have spotlights. Do you know the amount of like just actors in waiting, like talented actors that are just, that kind of thing? It's difficult
That's why
for,
we have you there. Don't you get it?
not
That's
so,
why
not
you're
so,
there. Alumni
not
club.
so, I know, I know. Kemi, I'm telling them, Kemi and I were like, she's super talented, like as some
Yeah.
of you people
I can
know, as
attest.
president of our alumni, we acted together in a couple of plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
She's a
sharp,
drama queen,
sharp.
but yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is actually true.
Okay, so Ishaya, let
Yes.
me let me let me let me get serious a bit, right?
Okay.
So Uncle Muyiwa was asking. He said, "What was the inspiration behind braids on a bald head?" I mean,
Breeze on a bald head. Yeah, I mean like that's like my special baby, man. That's like a film that I'm really happy about. Um, so Breeze on a Bald Head is a short film. It's about 25 minutes long.
mhm,
And it's kind of a day in the life of a hairdresser, who's in like a loveless marriage, and then she has this encounter with a mysterious neighbor of hers, and with that encounter, she's kind of emboldened to ask for better in her marriage. Um, and I think what's kind of the idea of the story, first of all, came to me like because like seeing women make their hair, braid their hair. So at the time, my mom had a shop in the market in Kaduna, and so like if I go to the shop, I just walk in the market and just look round and like see the people interacting. And one of the things that just struck me is like just the intimacy of when women make their hair, that kind of thing. I mean, like it's very mundane in certain ways, but then at the same time, it's very intimate and very beautiful. So at the start of it, that's kind of what sparked the idea. And also at that point in time, I was also kind of exploring sexuality. Um, and what that means in different cultures and religions in particular. And I think for me, that was a good entryway into that. So yeah, so literally that's where the idea came from. And then wrote a script, did a couple of rehearsals, like came in and shot. And yeah, it was just a beautiful experience.
mhm.
Yes, as I said, it's my baby that I'm really happy about.
Yeah. I feel like if I had to enter your head for 1 second, I feel like everything to you, even this thing that we're having here now in your mind, you're already directing. Okay, now, right, this is where you speak. Then
Nah,
stop.
man. See, man. Nah. Look, at any point in time, I get to just chill. Let me chill.
Are you sure? Because
I
I
am
heard
sure.
otherwise. I
What
heard
did you hear?
otherwise. I
What
heard
did?
that you're too busy for humans, right? Yeah, that's what I heard. But
Busy
anyway,
is
so
good. Busy is good.
yeah, okay. So that means you
Mm.
use us to act drama as well. Like this now, you're already plotting. Maybe movie title. Guys, let's get a movie title for this. Chat in the room, something. Oh my God, I'm not even creative like that. Let's not try this. Okay,
That's
so
fine.
me, I'm going to answer this one. Someone's asking, are you going to shoot Yoruba movies? So me, I'm going to answer this one. What's your problem? You're not inclusive? Brother grew up in Kaduna. I'm an Igbo lady, and you're asking us about Yoruba movies. Guy, call it Nigerian movies, okay? All right, so let's
No.
okay, so let's take another one. So someone was asking that you should tell us about script writing. Give us a crash course in 30 seconds about script writing.
Script writing is how you write a script. Bam. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
So
like,
tell me.
so writing a script. So there are three things. There's at the heart of it is your characters. You want to create characters that we care about. You want to create and it's the kind of thing that, excuse me, it's the kind of thing that if you think about all of the novels that you like, all of the films that you like, oftentimes there's a character that has done something, or there's somebody that is sat there in your head. Let me ask you, what is your favorite film, or what is the last film that you really, really enjoyed?
Yeah, that's a tough one. But series, can I say series at least?
Series is fine. Series is fine. I mean,
The Last
this is a
Kingdom.
golden age.
The Last
The last,
Kingdom. Do you know?
I don't
Kingdom
know.
is it's one of these Vikings one, like all these abroad series.
What did you like about it?
The actor is hot. Okay, sorry guys.
Wow.
That's number
Wow,
one.
that was very direct. Wow.
The
Wow.
accent,
Okay.
the acting, and everything. I think I really enjoy.
So I mean, like, and that's the thing. Like, so you have the characters at the heart of it. You want people that we care about, that we are rooting for. We want them to win. We want them to get what it is that they want to do. And then the second thing is the plot. So oftentimes we'll say that you want very complex characters in very simple situations. Or you can also have very complex characters in somewhat complex situations as well. And that's the plot. So you have a character that wants something, and then there's an obstacle, and it kind of also mirrors life, which is why they call it drama. Right. Is that, there's something that is stopping you from getting that thing, if you get what I mean. And so that's where you now start to like engage. So, okay, the plot, and then what envelopes everything is the world. So it's a story world. So you have your character, your plot, and then your story world. And you want a story world that is believable or engaging, that has a certain set of rules. So I see many people talking about Cersei, Lannister, or Game of Thrones, like referencing Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I knew they were going to go there.
Yeah. I'm fair enough.
The ending wasn't good, so
no. I don't think season. Let's just forget that. Let's forget season 8 happened. The whole of season 8 didn't happen. But then the thing about Game of Thrones is that you had really engaging characters, and like what they did at the first season is they now killed who you thought was the main character, Ned Stark. Which is also what, just like you, but then everybody else, you have them being like you're really engaged in them and like their journey. But then at the same time, the world that they created was a very fantastical world. You know, that kind of thing. You had the Night King, you had the White Walkers, you had dragons, you had the Dothraki, you had the Unsullied, and all of these people. But then it had a very specific set of rules. If you get what I'm saying, like, and that's the main thing about it. Like, you have to create a certain set of rules. So once you know all of that, then like literally what you're doing is that you're now pushing your story into that, that kind of thing, and you're examining that. And it's very, very important to know the rules before you break the rules, because like a lot of times people are just like, I'm just going to go and there's form and structure, especially if you're doing like a film or TV series. Like the way a script is written is industry standard format. There are the softwares that you'd use, Final Draft, Celtics, Movie Magic, that you use to actually write the scripts, and you have them in industry standard formats, location, the slug lines, what the characters and the dialogue. So yeah, I mean, like, the thing about it is that everybody, look, ideas come a dime a dozen. And again, this is not just exclusive to entertainment or to filmmaking, or it is with everything. But then it's now whether or not you have the hard work and the discipline to now literally push that through, if you get what I'm saying, and to actually work it out to make sure that it makes sense and it's cohesive.
Yeah. Someone is asking, we're going to take that one just in 5 minutes to wrap up the script writing questions. Someone asked if there's an opportunity for script writers in the industry in Nigeria.
At the moment, no. It's very, very difficult.
Okay.
It's coming too because hopefully it does. But at the moment, what it is it's a producer's market. And when I say it's a producer's market, now literally like the nominal value of I'm sorry, this is just hard truth now. The nominal value of our productions and our projects on a whole, on average, is still very low. So it's still very low in terms of people making like a really decent. I mean, it's very possible, and there are people doing, but then on the whole, it's still very low. That we still don't have any proper guilds or unions that are kind of demanding. There are no proper rates yet that screenwriters can kind of charge for their work. It's still like dependent on what the producer's whims and caprices. I mean, that said, you still have like networks like Africa Magic and Mnet but most of what they're doing, I think they've stopped making like original films. Most of what they're doing now is like long running series or telenovelas. So what you have is like a lot of the people that are actually working in the industry now are actually doing the work there. But then anybody else that's trying to be independent, it's very like fluid. There is no set structure yet. There's not enough protection for writers' IP. And enforcement of that as well, and which is a bit unfortunate. But as I said, I hope it changes. But then the hard truth about it is not yet. But then again, the beauty about it is this is also kind of the golden age for content production worldwide, because you have like all the streaming giants and the rest. So what that means is that it's now open. Like you have like Nigerian writers doing like shows like I think Insecure, How to Get Away with Murder, like international shows and the rest. So there is ample opportunity, and in certain ways they're also waiting for us to step up to kind of play on the global stage. And also even within locally, there is still ample opportunity to kind of elevate the level of our storytelling. And again, it comes down to the discipline. But in terms of, I wouldn't, I tell people to think long and hard before they go into a career in this and know that, okay, you know what, we live in a world of make-believe, and oftentimes there's a very, I also go through that, and it's one of the times that what is also real and what is make-believe in my own personal life as well. That kind of thing, even in creating stories and pushing out stories. It's tough for script writers now. And you often have script writers kind of doubling as directors, script writers doubling as producers, just so that they get their work done. Okay, because what happens is, go on, sir.
No, I was just going to add to that, but I'll wait for you to wrap up so I can ask you the question to build on that.
Okay, so you have that doubling, script writers doubling as directors, as producers, sometimes even actors like trying to even write their own scripts and stuff. There is still, although it's not as prevalent as you'd imagine, because also you find very few people like fully developing their scripts before they go into production. So there's still few cases, but it's still there, of IP theft. Like when people are stealing story ideas and the rest. But then again, as I said, I'm optimistic. Maybe it's blind optimism that I have to. I'm optimistic in terms of like we have the opportunity, and again, this is also part of the reason why I went into this, because at the time I looked at where Nigerian literature was going, I looked at where Nigerian music was going, and I knew that the next thing that was going to happen was film.
Okay. So because you talked about music, I'm just going to ask you a yes or no one. Like, is there a reason you don't shoot music videos? It's not your thing?
It's not my thing. I don't have the patience for artists.
All right.
I understand. Yeah.
I think some of us maybe were planning to venture into things like that, even though we don't sing professionally. I saw someone asking, her name starts with K, and she was asking me, do you
Mm,
want to do a music video?
nah,
But
and I think also adding to that, like because like and a lot of the music video directors that like I'm really close to and they're good people, is also just the amount of work, and you kind of get sucked into it as well.
mm-hmm,
Where you are both director, cinematographer, you're the editor, you know, you're doing everything, you're the jack of all trades kind of thing, and then and you get sucked into that. But yeah.
mm-hmm. So I was going to wrap up the scriptwriter question, but someone asked a very intelligent question, and the person said, so yes, indeed, like, the opportunity is not huge there, to get it produced and all. So they're asking, first of all, let's say that there's an opportunity. If I had a script, how do I go about it? What's the next thing to do? And after that, after I have the script and like, what's the next thing to do? Then in terms of production, where do I get the funding for it, etc. So walk us through that timeline.
Okay, so you have a script.
Yeah.
I think the first thing you want to do is so there's a development process, although we also like compress that really much. And the development process essentially is kind of scrutinizing the script, making sure that it's up to par. And then from there, you attach talents to it. So you attach your actors, you attach your director, you attach your producer. But if you have a script now and you say, okay, you want to go into production, I think the first thing you want to do is just decide what kind of film do you want, is this, and which path do you want to go. So you can try and go theatrical or festival routes. But you can go festival routes, which is like you're trying to get into festivals, you're trying to get like a
Right.
reputation building before you come here. You can kind of sell it to like Iroko, because I think like there's Iroko. I'm not sure Ebony Life takes any films at the moment. Iroko, Africa Magic doesn't do single films as much now. I may be wrong. And who else again? But there are certain distributors that you'd want to like ship it to and just show it. So on the theatrical side, that's cinema. You can take it to Film House or Blue Pictures and say, okay, you know what, I want to make this. If they see that, okay, you know, there's potential here, we want to back it. Then you now start negotiation. And the thing with funding for film now, it's still a case now, as in like, it's still like pretty much open. Like I do a mix of grants, some soft money. We don't necessarily do pre-sales as such. Pre-sales is like you're selling the film before it's made, and you're using that money to kind of fund the film. When I say soft funds, it's literally angel investors as well. But then you kind of see like what the potential of it. So essentially, is a couple of things. So you might want to get it to like a known actor or director or filmmaker and say, okay, you know what do you think about this? Is this? But then obviously you would have written the
How do you
script
even
for
get
that
it to
person.
the known? Yeah, but how do you even get it to the known actor or director? Like, is there an open channel for that?
No, see, the industry is still pretty close knit, so like people
Right.
still know each other and know each other. So it's not very hard to say, okay, you know what? Even when you call me and say, Ishaya, okay, I have this script. Although I often tell people I don't collect unsolicited scripts or story ideas just as a
Provide
principle.
freedom. Yeah.
But then you can just say, oh, Ishaya, I have this script. I want to get it to so and so person. It's not that difficult. I mean, like and they're pretty cool, really down to earth people that are really. I mean, Kemi Lala Akindoju is one of them. She was co-producer on my last film, and she's just an excellent, just a lovely person. She's married
She's
to
married to an
Frege.
eagle.
Exactly,
Yeah.
she's married to Bugbemi Fregene.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
again, like the industry is still very small and close knit. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not really that difficult. Yes, it may seem like, oh, these people are kind of far off or far there, but it's not really
Right.
that difficult to kind of like say, okay, you know what, and it's obviously belief in your idea and belief that the script is actually worth a damn. And that's another thing, because like writers, we get precious with our work and we don't like necessarily taking criticism or critique. Let me not say
Critic.
criticism, no, critique. And that's something you have to be open to. You have to be open to sitting down writing a script for 4 months, and more often than not, it still happens with me. My first draft is always shit. So more often than not, your first draft is shit. You need to write it again. You need to write it again. You need to write it again. So you have to be open to that critique. Oftentimes, I've spoken to people that had story ideas. That's very half-baked. They will write something on their phone and say, oh, I have this idea, really fun. And I'm just like, yo. So first of all, is also even the presentation style. If someone is sending me a treatment or a script, if it's not in a PDF, if you're sending me a Word document, that kind of thing, like you've not taken the work to put it in a presentable format. It's like CV now. If you're sending me your CV and then it's badly formatted, that kind of thing, you're mixing fonts left and right, so you're putting color here. And unfortunately, again, because of how informal the industry is, we kind of take liberties with just doing anyhow. So you see people that do anyhow work. Like someone sent me something the other day. I sent it via WhatsApp. Like, oh, just like 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs. Oh, I have this story idea. Are you interested? And I'm like, no. Like if you're not going to put the work in to kind of make it in an industry format, then you're wasting people's time.
Right. So let me ask you, we talked a bit about money, and someone is asking, is there opportunity for investors in the market?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think that they're definitely like there is but the thing about it is also high risk, high reward. And this is worldwide. This is not just in Nigeria. What people don't know is a huge percentage of films that are made in Hollywood or even in the British film industry, they do not make their money back. This is 60 to 70% of like the number of films that are made. And it's a similar thing here too. Again, when I talk about the nominal cost, the nominal value of our projects, our film. But then there are opportunities, and there are opportunities because, again, like you have new streaming services popping up, you have new avenues that you can showcase your film. We don't know what is going to happen now, but then this is also every industry.
Right.
With this pandemic and all of that. But then the film industry and the entertainment industry in general has also shown to be recession-proof. In the last recession, it wasn't as hard hit as people imagined or anticipated that it would be.
That's because people want entertainment, right? People want, and again,
exactly.
you even have stories. Like we've given you a story now. The next thing we're going to see is the great plague, the Rona. In fact, I'm just waiting for titles. I'm just waiting for titles.
After the pandemic. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and people want that escapism, and really and truly, like let's look at human history. Over the course of the years, even all our great books, you see the Bible. The Bible is a book of stories. We like storytelling. That is also what differentiated like sapiens from other mammals. Like we were able to tell stories. We were able to pass culture down from generation to generation. So it would still live on.
Indeed. So in the spirit of entertainment, hi Bez, I think I saw you around, and I saw you saying that Ishaya has been talking about film since second year. So Bez, in other words, we would like you to come on the show.
Bez has been strumming his guitar since year one.
I know. It's so impressive. You know what I really like? I deviate, but one of the things I really like is that most of the stars and the celebrities that we have here are actually people that they're not doing like exactly whatever the person is doing in terms of like, the entertainment industry. Like Bez has a different type of song, Simi does, everything. So it's really cool. Like Rick Hassani, they all have. So I think it's really amazing,
Yeah.
But guys, as I'm calling your name, Sha, if you know them, just nudge them and tell them that it's an invitation, open invitation to come and share about.
Absolutely. I think you definitely should. Like, and the people in music too, they're killing it now. Like from Bez, me, Dr. Frabs, IBK Spaceship Boy.
Oh, IBK is amazing work.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Spells as well. Yeah, so yeah, it's dope.
Cool. So we have one more question. I really don't know how to ask this one. Someone has been saying, talk about production design. Yo, I beg, how do you
So production design. See, I mean, like every aspect of film and this is what I mean by like when I said earlier on that every project brings its own challenges. So the last film I made, Fourth Republic, which will be on Netflix next month, shameless plug. Um,
Yay! Plug it, plug
Man,
it.
one of the one of the painful experiences was in production design. So production design essentially is literally the design of what you see in
Right.
shot. And the thing with film is like literally what you care about is what is in frame. Now, what is in frame, literally, as your camera is now, this is just you. I can't see the rest of your room, you know. And the same thing here. I mean, like people were talking about the whiskey bottle that was in the corner there. So production design is literally everything. It's like what the color of the wall is, this painting
Yeah.
behind me, the table here, the props that are going to be there. It is very, very, very essential. Like it's like crucial in like really creating the story world of your production. And it's kind of also kind of what the difference between when you see something as sparse and like kind of empty in terms of what you're seeing in the frame versus something as
Right.
rich and engaging and entertaining, you know, that kind of thing. Like if you talk about someone that's a drug addict that has just let himself go, if you come into the house and the house is all tidy and stuff,
It
that's
doesn't
not
look
very
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not very representative of the character or the story world you're trying to do. So your production designer is the person that's going to come and say, okay, you know what, we're going to put like vomit stains on the wall here, you know, there's not going to be a bed, just mattress, you know, there's going to be like empty bottles of beer, there's going to be like ash and all those kind of things. That detail really informs your story. It really
Right.
informs the world that you're trying to depict. And at the heart of it is that's production value. At the very heart of it, that's production value.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have, I'm going to take, I think, probably two more, because this is going to cut off at 1 hour. You know, we
Yes.
talked about the 45 minutes thing, but we knew,
Now
you
so
know,
now so now so
we knew. It's like when you do, no, think about it, when you do light, camera, action, which one goes first? Camera, light, camera, action, whatever,
like
please
a match.
forgive me.
Yeah.
I only know computer, right?
That's
So,
okay.
it's like when you do that, you have plans, sometimes you have to do take, what did you call it? Takeovers. You have to do all those take
You
whatever
have to do
take two.
takes. Takes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
takes many times,
Yeah.
right? If it doesn't go well. So imagine this as our many times and we've exceeded our 45 minutes. But yes, so someone also asked something about, copyright. So not copyright, but like in terms of like music that you use in your videos.
Mm.
How do you do that and make sure that you're still covered legally? I think that's the last question we'll take before I ask you this very broad question. So get ready.
Right.
Yes,
I'm scared. Um, so I
please.
mean, like I'm I'm very particular about that. So we license the music. If we're going to use any original song, we have to license it from the publishers, or get permission from the artist. It's a bit different because like so I've done films that are commercial that I've gone into markets, but I've also done like documentaries that are like free to air. So like one of the documentary I mentioned, Fueling Poverty, had
Mhm,
music from Femi Kuti and Asha.
mhm,
Um, the second one I did, Silent Tears, had music from Asha as well. But I'm also I like composing, or at least hiring someone to compose the music for that is specific to the film. So yeah, the heart of it is that you ask permission for the publishers, and some of them will charge
mhm,
you. Especially if it's a commercial film or a commercial project, they can say, okay, you know what, you can have the song for just
mhm.
a broad fee, which was the case with Brimo and Wrote to Yesterday, because we just had the song. We used Down from his album Tabula Rosa, for that film. But then for like I think Royal Hibiscus Hotel, we had like some songs from Files and I think Burna Boy and Johnny Drill in particular. And that one was licensed specifically like from this time to this time, this time to this time.
Oh, no.
And then obviously you now talk about like worldwide in perpetuity or whether it's regions, but most of the time it's just worldwide in perpetuity. But often
Right.
like it's very, very important because even like especially if you're getting on like the major platforms like say Netflix or Amazon,
Right. Yeah.
that one in particular is what they're going to ask you about. So it's two things in terms of IP, the script and the music, because those are the two original properties that you can be sued for, and you can be sued for a lot of money. Because you have like Burna Boy now that's he's signed to, is it Atlantic or Sony? I think it's Atlantic, and then the video is signed to Sony. Like those people will come at you, especially like they will come for you, and they won't even joke.
Yeah. In my former world, I actually used to work, do some things, not work with, but with Nollywood producers. You know, I worked with helping them bring in their content online and everything. So I know a bit about that.
Exactly.
I'm going to say this, so you don't have to answer it, but sometimes I watch some movies, right? And what they are dancing is not the same thing with the song that's playing. I try to understand why.
You know why now. You know. As you answer the question, as you ask the question, you know the answer.
Okay, let my answers be in my head. Okay. Exactly. I'm like, they're dancing like one.
You can change the music from what is on playback.
There's a beat. They can always use a song that's the same, overlay the same beat.
Right? I can't speak for other people.
You can neither confirm nor deny, but it's okay. All right, so let's take this last one. Thank you so much. We have like 4 minutes to go. It's going to cut us off Instagram. So I want to ask you this. So you've mentioned a lot of things, right? Guy, relax. It's okay. It's not.
I'm like, I'm getting ready for.
So then, I mean, you talked about original music, and I think a lot of us, some people are here trying to sing for a living, right? So they're asking if they can send voice notes. I'm joking. It's not a serious thing, but that's not my question. My question is, you talked about something in the growth of your career in this space, right? You said one important thing and one challenge is the mentorship.
Mentorship.
So some people are asking, how can they be mentored by you? How can they reach you, right? And can they be mentored? And even if it's not everybody, but like Eagles, this is Eagles plug. I'm speaking on behalf. I mean, right now I'm the one handling the account, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, okay. So absolutely within reason. I would say because like I just had an intern now that's just finished.
Okay.
Like working with us. It's a really smart girl, lady. Who's just about to finish school. So yeah, I mean, like within reason, definitely, I am open to it. I'm open to talk and share knowledge and connect people to the best of my ability. But then at the same time, they have to be serious about this shit because because it's entertainment, because everybody sees it as, side hustle, I just want blow, that kind of thing as well. And so people are not necessarily as serious because I would be more willing to like engage with someone who's been trying for the last 2 years to do this and has tried in certain ways than someone that's, has a certain cushy job, and is just looking at, so what's going on here, that kind of thing. And it's only fair because like if people are willing to say, screw this, I'm going to go for this for the long shot. So I am open for it. Absolutely. I'm willing to give time, to talk to, and yeah, but let them come through yours on me as well, please. That would help. So that you two also like help me.
Guys, I am his manager, henceforth. But I'm going to add something that Muyiwa said. Dr. Muyiwa said, be a mentor and no, I'm not a tormentor. Now I'm saying it. I'm actually thinking, is that really how you wanted to say it? But okay. So he's saying, of course, like people should be mentees, but not tormentors. They shouldn't make it difficult.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have like a few seconds to go, but I wanted to say thank you so much. And I hope I passed my audition as well. But since you've made me manager, I'm okay. I'm not I'm not doing anymore.
That's fine.
I'm crying on the spot, but I can laugh. I can talk. But
that one actually irritates me. I've actually stopped people from. I remember like an audition that I told someone to read something and then she started crying. I was like, stop. Just go away. Like, because it's just
why? Maybe there's a reason, but I'm going to stop us right now because Instagram will stop us if I don't stop. But thank you
very much, and thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope this was positive for you guys.
Awesome.
I hope this was good for you.
It was. I mean, if I say so myself, it was good. I have 10 seconds each to go. It was good. I really enjoyed. I learned a little about filmmaking. So thank you for gracing this, out of your very busy schedule. Thank you for sitting on our hot seats. And for everyone here, please make sure you go watch all the movies. Uncle, some of them
Fourth
are on Netflix.
Republic, Fourth Republic on Netflix next month.
All right, it's going up now. So thank you everyone for
Bye.
tuning in and goodbye.